All right. The recording is on. Okay. Hi, everybody. We're going to get started in just a couple minutes. We're going to let folks transition in from wherever they have been and give folks a minute to get settled. Hey. We are going to go ahead and kick this webinar off because we have two amazing presenters today, and I don't want to take any more time from them. So I would love to say welcome on behalf of FAAN, that is the Fostering Academic Achievement Nationwide Network. We are so pleased to welcome you to our very first FAAN webinar mini-series. Throughout this mini-series, we will be highlighting FAAN statewide backbone organizations and the best practices from their campus support programs in their network. The first webinar today, of course, features Fostering Success Michigan and Western Michigan University's Seita Scholars Program. A couple quick housekeeping items. We will have time for questions at the end. All of our presenters will be available for questions, so please share your questions using the Q&A or chat feature. And we will also let you jump off mute, and you can ask your questions out loud if you want to. We're looking forward to some discussion and really want to encourage this to be a space of learning and peer sharing. So please be sure that you jump in and ask those questions. There will also be a recording of this webinar available, as well as handouts, and we'll share that in a couple weeks. So you can look out. If you've registered, you will receive a recording or an email with a recording and the handouts. We will also be posting this later on this summer on our FAAN website, which we will share the link to later on at the end. So without further ado, I want to welcome our presenters. Please join me in welcoming Karie Ward, Director of Fostering Success Michigan, and Ronicka Hamilton, Director of the Seita Scholars Program. And I'm going to turn it right over to you, Karie, to get us started.
Thank you so much, Maddie. It's good to see everyone today. My name is Karie Ward, and I am Director of Fostering Success Michigan, which is a statewide initiative focused on college access and success for youth with experience in foster care. Fostering Success Michigan is under the umbrella of a national nonprofit network or national nonprofit organization called Educate Tomorrow, which operates two statewide networks in Michigan and the Positive Pathways program in Florida. Thank you so much for having me. Next slide. So our overall goal today, I think, is to give you an overview of the Michigan model, or some ideas about how the Michigan model developed, and then also how it operates today as a statewide and campus level. And that is not the right next slide. It should be Western Michigan University slide, the little history lesson. Oh, oh,
We might have missed that slide somehow. If you go ahead and talk about it, I'm gonna stop sharing and find that slide for you, Karie, just a minute.
okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I'm I'm starting off today with a little bit of a history lesson, because I don't know how many of you know. Basically, how Western Michigan University was really a part of a lot of the work that happened within Michigan related to post-secondary access and success. So in 2008, in 2008, the Seita Scholars Program started at Western Michigan University, and there started to be a lot of interest among the other campuses in the state about what they were doing. So people started asking those questions. What are you guys doing over there? How are you doing it? What are the best practices? And so Fostering Success Michigan was born as a sister program to the Seita Scholars Program. Fostering Success Michigan was really focused on building that statewide network among those campus-based support programs who are interested in building campus-based support, but then also move toward bringing in all the people that touch the lives of young people with experience in foster care into a statewide network, so that people didn't have to work in silos at various universities. So of course we had to bring in the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Education, caseworkers. So it was really about bringing people to the table to build this network so that the whole state could be communicating specifically about campus-based support in Michigan. And then finally, the Fostering Success Coach Motto was born as a program of our outreach and training under Fostering Success Michigan. So many of you are familiar with the Fostering Success Coach Motto. It's widely known nationally. And so it was really built so that coaches on campuses had the tools that they needed to work effectively with students. So that's kind of a snapshot of how everything developed. The WMU Center for Fostering Success was kind of the umbrella entity that housed Seita Scholars Program, Fostering Success Michigan, and Fostering Success Coaching until about 2018. So Fostering Success Michigan moved out of Western Michigan University's umbrella in 2018 and moved to a nonprofit organization. At that time, the Seita Scholars Program remained a super strong partner within the Fostering Success Michigan network, and Fostering Success Coaching continued to be a key element of the Michigan model. So like whenever I had new coaches or new campuses that I was onboarding, I would always recommend that coaching model. Say, take level 1. It's a great way to learn how to serve your students. Similarly, I think it was about 2 years ago, Fostering Success Coaching moved out from Western Michigan University's umbrella and developed into the Fostering Success Coaching Institute. And again, there remains really strong connections and collaborations between the three entities. So as an example of that, Ronicka Hamilton is director, I think it's president of our FSCI advisory board, and I'm also on the advisory board for Fostering Success Coaching. Ronicka's also a coach and a trainer for Fostering Success Coaching Institute. And so this kind of gives you a snapshot of how our three entities grew, continue to build capacity throughout the years, but continue to partner and collaborate in key ways as we grew. And I think that it's really remarkable how, again, we kind of started out as under a centralized umbrella, but then each developed into greater things, and then can continue to collaborate today as partners within Michigan and statewide, but then also nationally. Next slide. Hopefully this slide's yes, yay, okay. Throwback Thursday. So I just wanted to share this. Down at the bottom there, you will see the very first picture that was ever taken and posted to the Fostering Success Michigan website. Many of you will recognize the famous Maddie Day, who at that time was director of Fostering Success Michigan and probably had just moved to Michigan from Washington. And then also up in the upper right-hand corner, you will see Ronicka Hamilton, our famous Ronicka, and Jamie Bennett, who is director of Cetera, who oversees the Fostering Success Coaching Institute, and Tim Liggins. And both Ronicka and Tim, again, are work for the Seita Scholars Program, but then also are coach trainers for Fostering Success Coaching Institute. So just wanted to share some throwback pictures from back in the day when we were all under the same umbrella, and also mention how nobody seems to age but me. I don't know what's happening. I'm a little bitter about it, but it's all right. Next slide. So when we're talking about statewide networks, I like to think about how I engage within the state, or how Fostering Success Michigan engages in the state, by the 3 S's. So it's really truly at a micro, meso, and macro level. So 3 S's: students, support, and statewide network. So at the base level, or like where the bottom line is always our support for students, right? So it's always about engaging with students, finding out what their needs are, elevating that lived experience and helping them learn to advocate on a statewide level, but then also within their campus communities. And then also, really importantly, taking the resources that exist for them in the state, which can sometimes be really complicated, and trying to make sure that everybody knows about those resources and that everybody knows how to navigate those resources. So those are kind of some tough things that we've grappled with at Fostering Success Michigan, is like how to create toolkits or guides so that students and professionals both know about all of these resources that sometimes change, the rules sometimes change, and then also increase that access to those resources. On the meso level, it's the campus-based support program. So it's really important that I'm, again, bringing together all of the campuses so that they can communicate with each other. When Fostering Success Michigan started, I think in 2012, there were probably like 7 or 8 campuses. Today, we have 30 campuses. And the way that I frame it is that all of those 30 campuses have some sort of support or on-site support for students with experience in foster care. It's a continuum. So some campuses might have 1 point of contact, while other campuses might have full-blown programming, such as Western Michigan University. The idea is that I want to continue to try to move those campuses along that continuum so that there's increased investments at all the colleges and campuses to continue to increase programming as we go along. And then, of course, to increase programming statewide so that students have more choices to attend many colleges. And then finally, the statewide network. So again, it's really important that we're communicating among the campuses and sharing best practices, but there's also all these other people and institutions and organizations that really need to be in partnership with us and collaboration within the statewide network, so that everybody knows about the campus-based support programs, everybody knows about the resources, and most importantly, that nobody has to be the expert of everything. If you're part of this network, you can rely on other experts within the network to help you help students. So the greater your network is, right, the more robust your students' network is. And we've seen the same thing, I think, throughout the years with Fostering Success Michigan, right? So like as campus-based support programs grew, our network grew. And same way, as Fostering Success Michigan grows, then other campuses hear about the work that we're doing. So then campus-based support grows. It's a dynamic thing and always changing. And I think one of the most important things is that we continue to communicate and convene so that we can really keep an eye on the pulse of what's happening in the state and the most important issues that matter to our students. So an example of that would be like the pandemic, right? Like even post-pandemic, there had just been so many different changes and funding streams and resources that are available for the students that it's just really been necessary to weave together all of the different people that are working with students so that we have continuous communication among our network members so that everybody knows what's going on and everybody has the support that they need to support students sufficiently. Next slide. So I wanted to leave you with a tool today that might help you in building your network. So this is a network mapping activity tool, and we've used this at Fostering Success Michigan with individuals. So you could use this even with your students. You could use it with a group. You could use it within your campus with different departments. And basically, the whole tool is designed to help you identify who you have in your network and who you don't, right? So I think about one of the things Maddie always used to say is when I first got here to Michigan, I had to figure out who was in the room. And that's important to figure out who's in the room, who's committed, who's doing the work in your state. But also it's important to know who's not, right? Like who's missing from this party. And so this particular tool you can use in various situations to help you kind of organize your thoughts around the different resources that you have within your community, campus, or state. And then the next slide. You can also, even on the back of the PDF, you can fill in those contacts so that you actually have names of people that you can be in contact with, so that you have your, little spreadsheet of experts. So that's for you. Hopefully, you can use that to your advantage. Next slide. And then I also always want to mention the Fostering Success Michigan website. So there's lots of other resources on our website that if you're working like as a statewide organizer, or even as a campus-based person, and you're trying to figure out what resources can I create for my students to make things easier for them, feel free to jump into the FSM website and see if there's anything that you can utilize. One thing that I think has been really helpful for students and professionals in our state is our financial aid toolkit. In Michigan, we don't have a tuition waiver, so there's lots of different pieces of financial aid for students, and it can be really confusing. And so we created a toolkit that basically can walk students right through all of the different financial resources. And the same with professionals. They don't have to remember every single little piece of information that's available. They can just walk through this toolkit and help students along the way. So make sure that you visit the Fostering Success Michigan website. And if you scroll down, you can also sign up for any sort of communication from us. We'd love to keep you in our network too. Next slide. So this is my contact information. You don't have to be in a rush to write it down. I think it's going to be up at the end too. But feel free to reach out to me at any time if you have questions about building a statewide network. And now I'm going to turn it over to the brilliant Ronicka Hamilton to talk about campus support.
Thank you, Karie. That was great. Good high-level overview of FSM. So yeah, I'm Ronicka Hamilton, the director of the Seita Scholars Program. And I've been with the program since the second semester of the program. I think that's important to know just for like historical context in terms of what I know, how I know, some of our lessons learned, and so on. So I want to say about this slide, Karie gave you some information about our program, but I want to also add that the Seita Scholars Program is part of a larger initiative to change really the college-going paradigm for youth with experience in foster care. So we are a campus-based support program. I'm going to tell you more about how you can learn more about becoming a campus-based support program if you're not already. We provide a holistic coaching and programming to college students with experience in foster care. And pictured here, you see some of our incoming students, some of our incoming Seita scholars during Set Week in 2023. And so as a kind of a brief overview about our program's namesake, Dr. John Seita, I'll say more at the end, but I do want to say this as I'm opening up about him. We really appreciate that due to his lived experience in foster care, our program really gets our identity as a result of that. As he grew up in foster care, from about the age of 8 until he aged out. And the fact that our program is named after him really fills us and our students with a lot of pride and joy, again, because of his lived experience. The program was founded in 2008 at Western by our 3 founders, who I also like to lift up. They are all retired, but it was Dr. Yvonne Unrau. She was the founding director, and she was a member of the faculty. She was a professor in the School of Social Work here at Western. Penny Bundy was the director of admissions, and Mark Delory was the director of our financial aid department. So really 3 key people. You know, Dr. Yvonne really put the program pieces together, the research and all of the elements of coaching, our coaching model together, along with our team. Mark Delory crafted the scholarship because it's an institution-based scholarship. And Penny Bundy helped with the admissions process, including adding to our application if students experience foster care or not, so that they could then be flagged in our system. Again, I just like to pay tribute to all 4 of them because our program is really all of their legacy and their hard work as well. I also want to share some of our data, a little bit of data. Our retention rate is a little over 86%, and I really am aiming for 100%. Our graduation rate fluctuates between 42 and 45%, which is, as you may know, significantly above the national average. Again, I'm really striving for 100% there as well. And on average, 20% of our students make the Dean's List each semester. But I will say this past spring semester, 32%, which was a record for us, of our students made the Dean's List. To date, we've served 639 students with experience in foster care, and 243 have graduated with degrees in things like aviation, business, education, nursing, fashion design, and so many more things. And it just really fascinates me to watch these young people enter college and then go on to become nurses, doctors, teachers, social workers. It's such a beautiful thing to experience and to really bear witness. And so I just share all these numbers really to underscore the resiliency of our students, the desire that they have to be in college, and really the responsibility that those of us who do this kind of work have to continue to advocate so that they have access and can achieve a college education. So next slide, please. So here, I want to let you know that I'm going to talk about the 3 C's. Karie talked about the 3 S's. I'm going to talk about the 3 C's of our program, which is coaching, cash, and community. Let's see, what else do I want to say here? I'll also talk a little bit about how to start a campus-based support program if you're interested in that, and give you more information to connect with me. And then also some of our coach training activities that are coming up with Fostering Success Coaching Institute that Karie mentioned. So next slide. And all of the pictures that you see throughout our slides are our students and staff. There are no stock photos. We take a lot of pictures and really publish our pictures of our students and staff throughout even our office. It really, what we have learned over the years is that it really creates this sense of belonging. When our students walk through our hallways and see themselves, they feel like, oh, somebody cares enough about me to, you know, put pictures around the space around me. It's kind of like going home and you have family pictures throughout the wall. That's what our students have told us it feels like. So let's start with coaching. So our 7 life domains was adapted from KC Family Programs, and it offers this holistic, integrated approach to the framework to support students with experience in foster care. So every Seita scholar receives a campus coach who they meet with regularly. And during those meetings, they're doing things like setting goals, problem solving stuck spots, building skills, celebrating successes, and really just overall navigating the college going experience. And campus coaches are master's degree level professionals. So many people ask, are they peer mentors? Are they graduate students? They're master's level professionals. And few people on my team have lived experience in foster care, have been adopted. So they have lived or work experience in foster care. They're clinically trained. And everybody on my team happens to be WMU alum, for either their undergrad or master's degree or both. So that's always a bonus. And coaching we don't duplicate any of the services that are already on our campus. So coaches aren't tutors. They're not academic advisors. We actually help students sort of build their skill to go access the other resources that are on campus versus duplicating any of the services that are on campus. One significant role that the coaches play is really rotating, working on call or after hours every day. So that's in the evenings and weekends, 365, 7 days a week. So all year round, our coaches rotate being available to students to provide emergency support, with really helping students navigate anything after hours on the weekends, from just regulating in the moment to transporting a student to the ER, or rescuing a student from the side of the road because their car, broke down or whatever. So just various things that go on. It is important, I will say, and we are diligent about this, orienting students to what this is used for, to what after hours support or emergency call is used for. I remember when I was a campus coach, a student actually called me one Saturday afternoon, and she asked me if I would come and pick her up from campus and take her to Walmart and then take her back to campus. She needed to get a new cell phone. So I was like, no, ma'am. So we really had to do some building our protocol, establishing our protocol, and then orienting our students to it, because it's really important that, we have a life and space and time also. Next slide. Thank you. So the scholarship, or as I call it, cash. Every Seita Scholar receives a scholarship, and the scholarships are valued at 40% toward the cost of attendance, or of the cost of attendance. And they receive that scholarship for fall and spring. And there are summer scholarships that are available too. We have 2 summer sessions, summer 1 and summer 2, and students are eligible for scholarships during those times as well. Our students also receive full Pell Grant, and then there are other state and federal dollars that all combined help lower the cost of attendance for our students, which helps keep student loan debt low or very minimal for our students if they must receive them. And we do a lot of intentional education around student loans if our students come to us, if they have an emergency and are considering taking out a student loan, or if they have a balance. And even before that, we do some education with our students during summer orientation, because again, we really want our students to keep student loan debt at very little if they have to take them out. So having that kind of access to that kind of money, if you don't have the education, you can, misuse it. So let's see, what else do I want to say about this? We do have students who graduate with no student loan debts. I don't know if I said that. And then in many cases, we work over the summer with our students to save money. They become resident hall assistants, which they then get their room and board paid for. So that creates a larger refund check for them to save, because we're thinking about saving for post-graduation, right? So when they transition, having some resources so they don't have to feel the stress or the burden of not having resources or not being able to pay their first month's rent, the security deposit, or the things that they need once they transition from college. So all of our efforts really are about helping students lower their overall costs in terms of getting jobs, getting RA jobs. Some of our students have joined different military services, and we have a program on our campus for vets, and they get scholarship dollars and so on. So many different avenues that students can keep their student loan debt very low. We've also, I think I said this, had a couple of Seita scholars enlist in military, and one just recently graduated, and he left here with tens of thousands of dollars in his pocket as a nest egg. And so he's not in a rush to get a job. He wants a job. He will get a job because he did really well while he was here, but he doesn't have the stress of finances. So it's really, really amazing when students can do that. We've had several students do that. We also have a list of scholarships that we keep. Some are for students that have foster care histories, like Nasoro, certain scholarships like that we encourage students to apply for when students have a shortfall of finances. And all, let me see, there's a list of organizations that we have for all of these scholarships. So, again, many of our students keep their debt pretty low. That's all I'm going to say about the scholarship. Oh, we also have an emergency fund. Let me add that. We have an emergency fund that folks donate to our emergency fund to our students when they get into any kind of financial pickle. We can support them with those dollars, which is very, very helpful. Yeah, next slide, please. Community. So let's talk a little bit about community. So in the community of Seita Scholars, we're really intentional about creating a safe space for students to grow and thrive. We're deliberate and engaging our students and our student leaders, our students who are already on campus, and our students who are coming into campus, and really developing activities, building skills, creating events for all Seita Scholars to come out and enjoy. And usually our students create the events or give us the ideas and suggestions, and then we work with them to expand and build and make it come to be. We have a mantra of nothing about us without us. So we don't go out and create a lot of community events or activities without our students' input, because we want our students there. We don't want to create things that we think are good ideas or we think they might enjoy, and then they don't show up. We really want them to have a lot of say in what they do, and we're the conduit to help bring it all together. So all students with experience in foster care are welcome, because some students come to campus and don't join right away because of the stigma associated with being in foster care. But once they get connected with us, they never want to leave. So so we do a lot of intentional work around building community. And one of our program goals is really to create successful transitions. And we do this in a myriad of ways. And so I'll talk a little bit about some of our community building activities that have actually become traditions that our students love, look forward to year after year, cohort after cohort. And so I'll start with one of the things that we do real intentionally is meeting our students during new student orientation. And on our campus, that happens the entire month of June. So students get to pick their orientation day when they can come to campus, and the coaches receive their student assignments in May. And then as students are continuing to enroll in the program, enroll and get admitted to the university, we continue to assign students. And so when they come for orientation, sometimes that experience can be a really overwhelming and isolating experience, particularly if you're getting dropped off perhaps by a caseworker. And don't get me wrong, we value and love the work that caseworkers do, but it's really different when you are coming from foster care to campus and you get dropped off by your caseworker versus you see all of these other students or many other students with perhaps a mom, a dad, an aunt, some sort of relative. So it's important for us to be there with our students to make those connections and to, figuratively hold their hand for the first few hours of orientation while they get grounded. So we generally have lunch with them, have a conversation with them. And this, mind you, is not our first conversation with the students. It's maybe our fourth or fifth, because we've been talking to them in other processes of our program, like our admissions process. And then in May, when we first meet them, helping them prepare, make sure they're signed up for orientation. So then when they get here, It's having lunch with them, trying as best we can to get them comfortable with this process and excited if they're not already. So that's orientation. Then in July, the next month, we have what we call Summer Early Transition Week. And it's an acronym, SET, SET Week is an acronym for Summer Early Transition Week. And during this week, when students are here in July, they're involved in really a series of activities that where they get to know each other, our current Seita scholars, they get to know them, they get to do a lot of team building activities, and really just things that allow them to engage, grow, and challenge them, but in very healthy and helpful ways. And SET Week, I should add, is all led by our student leaders in our program. So our coaches are a part of it, kind of on the peripheral and in support of our peer mentors, but our student leaders really usher in the next cohort of students, which is such a beautiful thing to us. And by and large, after participating in SET Week, our students, we do a survey, we do a pre and post survey. And consistently, the survey shows that the students feel a stronger sense of belonging once they leave SET Week. They feel more connected to the WMU campus and to the Seita Scholars Program. And they're able to identify new personal and professional connections or relationships that they made during that week. So it's a very impactful and significant week. And it really reduces this feeling of coming to campus alone, coming to campus not knowing anyone. And it really puts some of their fears and anxieties at bay. So we love SET Week. Let's see, I'll also add about SET Week, sort of on the other side of that, our current Seita scholars are really proud to usher in the incoming cohort. They're really proud to design the t-shirts and that you saw in the first slide that I had up. Those were pictures from SET Week. And those t-shirts are always designed by one of our student leaders. They make all the arrangements, as I said, the meals, the activities, they pick the meals like, no, students won't like this, but we'll like that. So it's a really great opportunity for them to develop their leadership skills and really increase their confidence, because sometimes we target students to apply if we have low applicants and students are like, well, I can't lead, I don't lead. And then it's their coaches saying, remember when you did this? That was leadership. Remember when you said this? That was leadership. And so they're like, oh, and so it's so important, those coaching relationships and connections, because I believe that in our families, sometimes if we have family privilege, those are some of the things that are happening in our families. Our parents are pointing out to us things that we don't see in ourselves. And that's what we get to do at our Seita Scholars. And it's really amazing when they lean into the role and it increases their confidence. And then we see them going off into other places in the institution, working in leadership jobs and roles that they never would have thought of, but for having this opportunity. So opportunities is so important. Other sort of community building staples or traditions for our program, as I mentioned, include our finals week celebration. So the Sunday before finals week, we have, particularly in December, it's almost like we call it a finals week celebration. It's almost like a holiday party, because we have community churches and members that knit things for our students. So they knit socks and gloves and hats. And so our students really look forward to getting their knitted items for the winter. Blankets that are knitted and quilted for them. We have lots of gift cards and games and just a lot of fun activities that we've been lately pulling off of social media. Social media has a lot of fun holiday games. So finals week celebration is certainly a staple. We have a graduation breakfast for our students the day before graduation each semester. So that's something that they look forward to. Just when we think we can't do it or we're going to downscale it, our students say something about it, and it's like, okay, they love this. At our last celebration this spring, we had 7 graduates. And when my graduate assistant said, we have 30 RSVPs, I said, what? Who else coming? Like our students were bringing 5 people and 4 people and 6 people, and it was beautiful to see how they have expanded their network. They were bringing roommates who had graduated, a professor who is in their network, their career mentors. So it was just really beautiful to see them expand their network. And we had a huge, beautiful graduation breakfast. We employ Seita scholars in our office, particularly Seita scholars who are at academic risk of dismissal. Those are the ones that we really like to kind of scoop up and get in here and hold close. And everyone that we've done that to has raised their GPA, and many of them have already graduated. One that is currently working in our office, she was on the dean's list for the first time after being on academic probation 2 semesters. And she's on her way to a study abroad trip with our program. So those kinds of things also are really important and really help. We have an annual pool party at the president's home, which again, one of the activities that I was thinking, we're not going to do this year. I saw the president, he's like, hey, Ronicka, you got the pool party on the calendar? And I was like, yes, we do. So I had to quickly make that happen. So we have the annual pool party and cookout at his home, which is really nice. And students, and clearly him, look forward to that. We have students present with us at conferences, summits, and so on. We do annual trips to the apple orchard or the farms and pick apples and pumpkins. We invite our career mentors to do that. All of our staff and some of their family come when we do that. So that's also a really nice thing. Coaches take students on backpacking trips. We do these leadership backpacking trips where students kind of unplug because they're out in the wilderness. We do this in collaboration with another department on campus. That's something that our coaches who like to hike and our students really look forward to. We've taken our students for 3 or 4 years to a leadership conference in LA. Students really look forward to that. That's annually. We do holiday dinners. We do what is it? Oh, meals during finals week. So we call it like finals week fuel or something like that. Students really look forward to that. The last few years, we've done cultural events where we are really coming together and highlighting everyone's culture. We have a high population of unaccompanied refugee minors in our program. So we do FTAR dinners and support really just all of the identities of our students. And I'm sure I'm missing some of the things that we do that are really staples or traditions, but you get the picture, I hope. So, and if you have questions, we can cover that in Q&A. So next slide, please. Those are the 3 C's. The next thing I really want to move into is talking about site visits in case you happen to be interested in starting a program or learning more about how to expand your program. We offer what we call site visits. And so a site visit for us is a revenue generating source where we're open to having individuals or groups, come to our campus to meet the members of our team and some of our campus partners to learn about how we co-created this campus-based support program. And so usually folks, when they're interested in that, they reach out, we have some conversation, we start making the plans, and I invite people to come in and observe us in action, engage with our staff and students, faculty in some cases, and then learn about the history of the program, some of our best practices, really give folks an opportunity to learn from our mistakes. And we work with the institution to define their objectives for the visit. We discuss and prepare an agenda. I ask people to really kind of send me in advance a list of their questions so that I can make sure I have all of the key stakeholders at the table and meetings arranged for the appropriate people to be there to answer their questions. And they're really just an invaluable tool for gaining a deeper insight into our operations, our challenges, our successes, and all of that. And it allows for really some practical knowledge that can inform the development of your program or the expansion of your program. So again, the outcome is really for you to figure out how to operationalize all of this. Because there's so much more. There's so much more to having a team and being intentional about having a healthy, functional team and workplace for students who perhaps came from such toxicity. It's so important to not have that in our workspace and as a team as we're supporting our students. And our students, I do believe, get a real sense and feel that we're a real solid, connected team. And you see this lovely picture of my team. I always like to, as I pay tribute to our founders and our namesake, I like to do the same for my team, because without them, without all of them and all of the parts, they're all keys to the magic that I feel we make happen for our students. So that is our team. Next slide. So the last thing I want to talk about is some of our upcoming events with Fostering Success Coaching Institute. That's the link to our website. We'll put that in the chat. I want to invite you to visit our website if you're interested in any of our trainings. We offer level 1, which is a foundations training, where you're really learning about our 7 core principles and the practice steps to our coaching model, and then other skills that promote partnership, interdependence, and problem solving with students. And then in level 2, that's our applications training. And trainings that there are really building on their knowledge and skill that they learned in foundations, and developing advanced skills around awareness about common beliefs held by young people who experience adversity, and coaching highly stressful young people or young people in distress, and just really accelerating action planning and accountability with students. And then we offer mentor coaching, where you can really hone your coaching skills and receive direct feedback from a mentor coach, and scaffold your learning really from level 1 and level 2. And mentor coaching is really important and valuable if you want to go on and get the ACC or PCC accreditation, ACC, I'll say, accreditation through International Coaching Federation. And then finally, we have a couple of mini trainings. And the mini trainings include things like adolescent brain development and equity grounded coaching. And adolescent brain development, there are 7 core competencies that we teach in that one. It's really about the emerging science around adolescent brain and how to promote brain gains and help young people rewire their brain and heal from some of the trauma that they've experienced. And the equity grounded coaching is an exploration around ways power dynamics show up in our work and how we can minimize or eliminate those. And really, it's a real reflective conversation. That training, it's a really, reflective conversation, some self-exploration also. It's a great training as well. And then our second biannual, so every other year, we do a coaching summit, and that one is coming up. It will be virtual again in mid-February in 2025. So look for the save the date and our request for proposals. I hope to have those out by fall, or we hope to have those out by fall. And then we're hoping that in 2027 that we can have an in-person training or summit. So next slide, please. And last, and certainly not least, as I mentioned before, our program's namesake. Myself and a couple of our team members have been with the program since its early development stages, and Dr. Seita was often present at events, meetings, greeting students, inspiring students, and us, really. And so we just always pay tribute and honor to him for the legacy, for his name, and for the iconic, fierce champion and advocate that he was. So thank you. And thank you, Lori, Maddie, and all of the FAAN folks for having me today. Thank you, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ronicka. Thank you, Karie. This was just a great presentation, and I want to give us some time to open things up for Q&A. And don't worry, we will share contact information for both Ronicka and Karie at the end. I did see one question in chat that I think can help us get going. So Cinda asked or stated, we're positioned in the bridge space between high school and college entrance and having trouble reaching the pool of potential students, as well as nurturing long-term vision versus immediate survival. Thoughts from your position at a university to increase the pool, and what skills and information would help to equip incoming students for success? And that is in our chat. So maybe Ronicka, if you want to jump in, and then Karie chime in.
That was a mouthful. So,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what state they're in, but in Michigan, we have Michigan Youth Opportunities Initiative. And that's a great way to kind of reach students who are still in high school. The last part of the question, though, kind of stood out to me. Will you read that one, that last part of the question, Maddie?
Yeah, it says, so thoughts from your position at a university to increase the pool of potential students. So that would be one piece. And then what skills and information would be helpful to equip incoming students for success? So really
Yeah,
thinking about that, like college access and prep space.
yeah. So it's FAFSA, planning ahead. Those are some skills like helping students complete, access the FAFSA. Planning ahead skills are important. So they're doing it in a timely manner, not in a sort of last minute manner. Um, Increase the pool of students. That's actually one of the things that we're looking at right now because of this higher ed cliff, right? Enrollment is down in higher ed. And so we're actually trying to figure out how to increase the pool. Part of it is some of the work that Karie does, I think, in terms of the conferences that Karie puts on for young people. So they need some awareness, right? That we're here, that these programs are here, these people are here to support them. And so a lot of that, Karie is getting that out. Karie, you want to add to that, please?
Sure, I have a couple of thoughts. I was trying to drop a link into the chat, but couldn't get back to my website in time. So Fostering Success Michigan has facilitated something called our virtual college fair since the pandemic. And this, we do it twice a year, right around the time that FAFSA is due. And basically it's a virtual opportunity for our coaches at our various campus-based support programs to come talk a little bit about their program and then interact with students who are thinking about college or maybe not thinking about college, right? Like the whole idea initially started out to be quite formalized, but now it's kind of morphed into like the students show up and we just all kind of start chatting with them. Like I'll say, Ronicka, why would anybody want to go to college? And so it's more like a conversation. So that's helped us connect with students and connect students to programs, which was really a big deal during the pandemic because we we're definitely getting a lot less students arriving on campuses. I'll also say, for what it's worth, Fostering Success Michigan facilitates a pilot project called Change Makers in Kent County, and there are also large numbers of unaccompanied refugee minors there. And a couple of it's like a peer-to-peer mentoring program. A couple of my change makers also, their lead change makers, they have experience as refugee status, and we've gone into residential facilities and do like home visits and just talk to the young people about college and what it's like. And we found that like having students like them talk to students helps dispel a lot of the misconceptions. So like what we were hearing is like a lot of students were like, I have to speak perfect English before I arrive on campus. And so my change makers are like, no, actually you don't. I don't speak perfect English now. And I'm actually going to graduate from Grand Valley State University. So I think it's like a two parts about yes, bringing knowledge and awareness, and then also having student voice be a part of your outreach efforts. And then I'll also plug the Fostering Success Michigan website. If you look on the front page, there are little boxes. If you look on the third box over, it's called a College Application Toolkit. If you click on that box, it gives students ideas about different things to do at various stages of their high school career. So freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, things that like activities or things that they could be doing to start getting ready for college.
Thanks so much. We'll get those links sent out in chat, as well as sent out through the follow-up email. We have a second question that asks about recruiting from community colleges. And if you recruit from community colleges, and maybe Ronicka, you can speak a little bit to that, and then maybe Karie, you can say a little bit about how those partnerships work in the statewide network.
Yeah, thank you, Maddie. We do recruit from community colleges. We have a partnership with our local community college in particular. And then we know people at other institutions too. Like we get a large number of students from Grand Rapids Community College. So we have some folks in our network from over there. And we do work with particularly, and I want to expand it, but particularly Kalamazoo Valley Community College. We work closely with them. They're one of their coaches is on our admissions team. And so we do a lot of work with them. And sometimes when our students have to stop out for various reasons, it's most helpful for them to go to KVCC. So to start back at community college. And so that partnership actually works both ways, right? So they go there, they strengthen their skills, then they come back here.
So that's actually another really good reason to have a higher education consortium that you convene to bring campuses together, because we've seen a lot of that happen, right? So sometimes students are pushed to go to university in order to take advantage of housing, and then they're not necessarily ready for a four-year university. And so we've found that creating opportunities for all of our coaches to get to know each other, that helps with warm handoffs between the campuses. In our state, we also have a unique situation where we have a community college and a four-year university in Saginaw under like share a coach. So that same coach works at the community college as well as the four-year university. I think that that's really unique. But yes, I think as far as my, like on a statewide level, it's always really important to partner with the community colleges as well as the universities. And then again, going back to like that continuum idea, right? So like it probably, with a small community college, it's probably not going to be real appropriate to have a huge campus-based support program there, right? But it's important to have at least an on-site point of contact that also knows who the point of contact is at the four-year. That's a bigger program. And so that, again, helps kind of with that educational pipeline for all students.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I just want to note that Amber, I might butcher this last name, Helmick, dropped a comment in chat and just sharing that she is a resource specialist and community advocate working nationwide. She'd love to connect with folks. She did put her contact information in there, so feel free to grab that and make sure that you follow up with Amber if you'd like to connect. Any last questions? Anybody want to come off chat and ask a question? Oh, let's see. I see one more question. Oh, from Rachel. What is your relationship with private higher ed institutions? So those would be the private colleges. And just, we have 2 more minutes. So Karie and Ronicka, rapid fire answer.
Yeah, I could start. So, so we do include private institutions in the Fostering Success Michigan network. I think that they're an important part of the entire network. And in fact, one of my change makers was attending Aquinas, which is a private school within the last couple of years. So definitely part of our networks.
I would only add that because they're part of the higher ed consortium that Karie convenes, we get to connect and learn from each other through those conversations. So that network is very important.
Wonderful. Great. Um, I just want to say thank you all so much for, sharing. And let me share our last slide so that folks can start to jot down contact information. And it looks maybe some of the questions are things that were put in chat, maybe are only going to host and panelists. So we'll make sure that we capture all of the contact information and send out all of the links and the handouts to folks. If you missed them, don't worry, they will get to you. They will still be there. They will still be viable. And we really encourage you to reach out directly to Karie and Ronicka to learn more about their programs. And of course, we would love to have you all check out our FAAN website. It is FAAN with 2 A's, network.com. And we will see you in another month or so for our next FAAN mini-series webinar. Thank you, everybody, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.